So, in my years working in insurance, I have noticed that there are certain personality traits and attributes of successful adjusters and insurance professionals, and I wanted to kind of discuss some of those with y'all today.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad, they don't salute you. I need a bag.
Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan, and I make videos on lifestyle, insurance, and mental health. I also do vlogs, day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life of a toddler, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your support. Okay, so today I want to do something a little bit different. I do get a lot of questions about just working in the insurance industry, like how is it that I'm able to juggle the workload and all that kind of stuff. And it got me to thinking about just the people that I know in the industry, my colleagues, my coworkers, past and present. And I think about just certain attributes that all of these successful people have that would essentially make you a good fit for this industry. So this video will be perfect if you're considering getting into the industry, like if you're looking for an entry-level position and looking to kind of start over your career. And it's also good if you are struggling in the industry and just kind of not really sure where to go. I just kind of put together a few personality traits of the people that I know that are successful in the industry, and hopefully this can kind of help give you some insight. So if you're interested, definitely go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so the first personality trait that I tend to see in adjusters and insurance professionals that are successful in these roles is empathy. You have to have empathy for others in order to be successful in any type of job where you're dealing with people that have suffered some type of a loss, and that's why they're coming to you in the first place. So as you know, basically as a claims adjuster, you're handling claims. And when someone presents a claim, that means that they had a situation with their vehicle, they had a situation with their home, they have a situation with their health, whatever the case may be. But it's usually not a good reason why they are filing a claim. So the best adjusters and the best insurance professionals that I've seen are able to kind of put themselves in that person's shoes, not be robotic, and just really be able to speak to them from a human standpoint as opposed to just an employee standpoint. Our job as adjusters and insurance professionals is to essentially make good on the contract that you signed with us, that if in the event something happened, we're going to do this, this, and this for you. We're supposed to be advocates for our customers. So if there are things like benefits of the policy that, someone didn't bring up or someone didn't know, it's our job to kind of let them know, hey, you know what, I can't do this, but I can do this for you. Or did you know that you can do this, this, and this? I think sometimes we can get so caught up in the day-to-day, and it's human. You can get so caught up in the day-to-day that you do start to handle your claims almost in like a robotic way, like you're just kind of going through your investigation. What do I owe you? What do I not owe you? Let me create this letter. Let me send this to you and all that stuff. And in some instances, people literally just want to know that they're cared about and that they have someone that is advocating for them. It's very heavy customer service. So that's why I say it's important that you kind of have that empathy, gene in order to be able to keep up those customer service scores. Because a lot of times when people aren't satisfied, their number one complaint is that they either weren't able to get in touch with their adjuster or insurance professional, things weren't explained properly, or they just simply felt like a number. So you definitely want to, just kind of be able to have compassion for others and what they're going through, and just take a second to slow down and really look at the situation and try to understand where they're coming from. Because if you can do that, it'll really make you a better employee, because you'll be able to kind of just see them where they're at, meet them where they are, and assist them through essentially a tough time in their life. Okay, so the next one is kind of a big one, and really, honestly, if you don't do this, you're not going to be successful in this industry, point blank in the period. But it is to work hard and be disciplined. This is one of those positions where a lot of your work is ongoing, and you essentially set up your day with how it works best for you. So you get your claims, you get your work, like basically after training, it's up to you to set up your desk in a way that works for you, where you can get your work done in a timely manner. So you'll hear the term front loading a lot in the insurance industry, and all that basically means is like once you get the claim, do all you can do in that moment to move it forward, until you can't move it forward anymore, and then work on it once you get more information to, do what you need to do after you complete your investigation, whatever. Work on that file as much as you can to move it along. So in the past, insurance companies have had kind of a reputation for taking forever to pay somebody and, just essentially BS and sitting on things, having people waiting. And the issue with that is the longer a claim sits, the more opportunity there is for things to get out of control, for costs to get out of control, things like that. So the best adjusters are going to work their behind off in the time that they're allotted to make sure that that claim is not out of control and to get that customer paid as soon as possible. The biggest thing with this is you want to be in control of your claims and your desktop at all times. The last thing you want to do is have your desktop working you. You want to get into a position where you're calling customers before they have to reach out to you for an update. You want to send updates as you get them. You want to kind of get your customers into a rhythm of knowing, like, hey, I can reach out to her if I have a question, but I know she's going to reach out to me as soon as she has something. So typically what I'm doing, because there has to be a balance, like you can't just work and not rest. So that's also in there, but that's where your discipline comes in at. When I log in the morning, I don't have any TVs on around me, unless like obviously my son is home and he's watching his shows, which that's not really a distraction for me. I just kind of let that play in the background, but I make it a point to put my personal phone aside and I work on what I need to work on. I zone in, work on the items I need to work on. When I need to take a break, which I tell you sometimes I struggle with, but I'm getting better. When I need to take a break, I take a break, go, have some water, walk around, eat, whatever I need to do. Do that, and then when I come back, I zone back in on my work. I try to handle, everything is a priority essentially, but you've got some customers that are more, agitated than others, so you want to make sure that you get those under control before anything else. I try to get to everybody as quickly as I can, but like how I've talked about in different videos, like how I set up my day, I make sure that like if I got voicemails, overnight or over the weekend, or if I got emails overnight or over the weekend, I respond to those things right away because they've essentially been sitting. So I don't want that person to get antsy. Even if I don't have an answer, I can at least kind of, keep them at bay. So you just want to set your day up to where you are working as hard as you can, getting the items that you need to get done. It's much easier when you have those fires put out, or you at least have resolutions going on, than it is to try to, let it all snowball and now you're kind of just overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start. So jump on things before they happen, but the only way you can do that is if you are consistently working hard and disciplined, doing your work when you get it, not letting it sit there and wait. Don't let things escalate to your manager if you can help it. There's going to be some times where you have people that are just unhappy and they're going to reach out to management, whatever. I'm not talking about those things. I'm saying the things that are in your control you want to work on, and you can't do that if you're just sitting back chilling. So make sure that you have a plan in place, to work your claims, reach out to customers as soon as you have a free moment, and provide updates as soon as you can. And whatever you do, get the claim closed as soon as possible, because that's one less thing on your desk that you have to worry about. Okay, so the third trait that I see with successful adjusters is creativity. This might sound crazy because, it's essentially, a 9-to-5 type position, and it's like, okay, well, how do you have to be creative? I'm gonna explain to you how you need to be creative and how this is going to help you move forward in like difficult claims. So I'll give an example. When you're looking at the policy, a lot of times the language, sometimes it's black and white, but sometimes it's gray and it's up to interpretation. And with most insurance companies, when it's up to interpretation, we will usually go in favor of the insured. So we try to make sure that whatever we're doing, we keep our customers who are paying their premium and paying for the service, we try to keep them in mind. And if it's going to make business sense and it's going to make the best sense to bring them back to where they need to be, we go on ahead and make that decision. So one example of that, I had a situation where there was a customer, and this was actually pretty recently. I had a customer who presented a plumbing invoice. Now, just to not get into every single thing, but typically if like a pipe fails or something like that, the pipe itself is not covered, but the policy will cover access, meaning that if a plumber needs to, tear up the floor to get to the pipe or tear up a wall to get to the pipe, the policy will cover the tearing up of the floor or wall to get to that pipe. It just won't cover the pipe itself. Okay, follow me? All right. So with that being said, I got an invoice from the insured from his plumber, and it said all this work he did. He had to reroute this, do this, cut into this, whatever. And it wasn't, it was itemized to a certain extent where I could see what he did, but it wasn't itemized with each amount. So it didn't say pipe this amount, tearing into the floor this amount. It didn't say that. And that's what I needed to settle the claim. So I had reached out to the plumber like 3 or 4 times over the course of like 2 weeks. And the plumber would answer and he would tell me, hey, I'm gonna have my wife get it to you, or I'm gonna get it to you this day. And he never got anything to me. To this day, he hasn't gotten anything to me. So I started to get frustrated because the customer is waiting, and the last thing you want is the customer to be looking at you like you're not doing shit or you're not doing what you said you were gonna do. So what I had to do was I just had to get creative. Since this person was not calling me back, I used our estimating software. So I went into our estimating software and I looked up what our pricing is for his market area for the types of pipes that he had rerouted. So it was, I don't remember, some type of copper pipe, whatever. So I, took the square footage of the pipe that was being replaced, and I simply subtracted that amount from his bill. And I was able to explain in the file, like, in an effort to resolve the claim, not able to get in touch with the plumber, in an effort to resolve the claim, I took, such and such pricing to account for the pipe that the policy doesn't cover. With that being said, this is going to be the amount that I'm requesting authorization to pay the customer. And not only was my manager impressed and he approved it, the customer was very happy. He, when I sent it to him and told him just kind of my logic and what was going on, he was very appreciative. And he's like, hey, like, thank you for figuring out a resolution. Like, I do appreciate it. I understand that you weren't able to get in touch with him. You let me know you weren't able to get in touch with him, but you didn't allow that to just hold up my payment. You figured out a way to get the money to me. So I say all that to say that there are going to be times where you're going to have to think outside of the box. And if you're not comfortable doing that, this is not going to be a position that you will succeed at. And I'm just being completely honest. I don't want to shoot down dreams, but in order for you to get some of these claims off your desk and to essentially make your life easier, you're going to have to really think about, what you can do and what you can't do. Think about the resources that you have available. You have to be resourceful. You want to think about all the tools that your company gives you. Think about all the tools that you've learned. Also think about, like, past claims and, what you've discussed with your manager or upper management. Have they talked about certain scenarios that, kind of like trigger something like, oh, wait a minute, in this situation, I was able to do this. If you have an idea and you don't know, go to your manager right away. Like, hey, this is the issue that I'm having. I'm thinking about doing this to resolve it. What do you think? I do that all the time. And it's to a point now where my manager does trust my judgment because he knows my thought process. And I also document it in my file. So if he's going to go look at something to approve, he knows exactly what I'm thinking. Now, there have been times where he's like, you know what? I see where you're going with this and it makes sense, but you know what? We actually can't do it this way. I can approve you doing it like this, but not like that. But either way, you want to just show your managers that you are critically thinking about it and that you're trying to help the customer. And if you just kind of have that like creative mind when you're going into these files and when you're going into these claims and trying to figure out a way to help your customer, you're going to succeed more than you will ever know. And you're going to really impress your higher ups, and it'll be easier too for you to move about throughout the companies because they know at the end of the day, you know what you're doing and you're resourceful. All right, so the last attribute that I think you should have to be successful in the insurance industry is you have to be organized. I cannot stress that enough. You have to, if you're not organized, you need to get organized. Let's just say that. You have to have routines. You have to have a way that you set things up to ensure that you're able to get your work done. Now, spoiler alert, as an insurance adjuster or insurance professional, you're not going to always get to a point where you get your work done. I'm going to let you know that right now. I am in a position as we speak where I've got things sitting, and it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just, it's just not enough hours in the day. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to work overnight and, just overexert myself to get things done when, I'm at capacity. So what I do in those situations is I just make sure that I handle like the big things first, make sure I get those things out of the way, and then I just manage everything else the best I can. I've talked about in other videos where I have my desktop set up to where I have my urgent activities, like things that need to get done today, and then I have things that I can kind of push off, into other days. So I also look at my desktop every morning when I walk in, or when I log in, should I say. I look at my desktop to see, okay, is there something that I can reasonably get done today? Or is there something where I know I don't have what I need to, to take care of it? So do I need to push it off? Do I need to follow up on something because it's been sitting for too long? Things like that. So you just want to kind of have a system, like whatever you do. If you come in every morning and check your emails and address your emails and then address your voicemails and then get to work on your desktop, do that. If you have a situation where you like to work on your first contacts, and then you set up your appointments, or whatever type of insurance you do will kind of determine how you need to set up appointments, and then you work on back end work, and then you address voicemails and emails. Do that. Whatever works for you, you have to figure out a way to be organized to be able to get the amount of work that you're going to get done. Now, what I can say is that I've worked for 3 carriers at this point, and there's going to be ebbs and flows. There are going to be times where you get done with your work by noon. I kid you not, like you will be done with like all the major stuff by noon, and your phone is like crickets. Like nobody's calling you, and if somebody is calling you, it's a vendor or a coworker hitting you up about something. There are going to be times like that. But a lot of times, you're gonna have times where you have so much work that you're trying to get done. Your phone is ringing off the hook. You have to return these calls by a certain time. If you don't call somebody back in 5 minutes, they're gonna call you again. You're getting emails coming in, and then you still haven't eaten lunch or, had a sip of water. You're gonna have times like that. And I've had times like that over this past week that I kind of like discussed in a previous video. But yeah, you just have to figure out a way to like essentially take care of yourself, but also take care of your workload. So at the end of the day, you just don't want people reaching out to you, asking you what's going on. That's usually my thing. I try to stay off of all the lists. I try to stay off of all of the, like on the naughty list and all that stuff. I don't want anybody reaching out to me about anything unless it's about getting me a raise or telling me how good I'm doing, okay? Now, there are going to be times where you just simply can't avoid it. You're always going to have that one customer that escalates. Have a customer that got an attorney because he's mad that his claim got denied. It's just a part of the job, but it's nothing that I did wrong. And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you do everything that you can to, just kind of like have a system, have a way that you address things. Let your team know how you address things. Like I typically let my manager know, hey, this is kind of how I set up my day. If you need anything outside of that, definitely let me know. But this is typically what I'm doing throughout the day. I let people know where I'm at throughout the day. So realistically, if you try to add something else to my plate, I can't get to it because, I'm out inspecting or whatever. You just kind of have to be open and organized. So that, I know I'm getting kind of long-winded on this, but that's going to be like pretty much one of the main things about being in this industry. You have to figure out a way to organize your desk and organize your workload to what works for you and your personality and your schedule. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get this mountain of work done on a regular basis. All right, you guys, so I know I can be a little long-winded, okay? And I apologize about that, but I just be wanting to give you guys the tea. I want you guys to be prepared, for what this type of role looks like, because when I say it's not for everybody, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. That's why there are so many different roles, in all different types of industries for things that fit people's personalities. I have this joke with my siblings where like there's certain siblings that I think would probably do well. There's other siblings where I'm like, this would not be for you, because of your personality type and because of, just like how you deal with things. Like this would not make you happy long term, even sometimes with myself, I'm on the fence, right? And I kind of told you guys in another video that while I'm doing well in this position right now, is getting to a point where the level of effort I have to give is a little much for me at this point in my life. So I'm at a point where I don't want to stop working or anything. I don't want to necessarily be out of the industry, but I do think that maybe another department might suit me well at this point in my life. So just kind of keep those things in mind. Like, something might work for you for however many years, but then you might get to a point where you're like, you know what? I want to see something different. You might not even be unhappy. It might just be a situation where you just want something else. Like, doing the same thing over and over, day after day, and year after year can get a little mundane. So just be flexible, but kind of know your limits and then know like what you're willing to work on. Some people aren't naturally customer service savvy, you know what I'm saying? And I personally don't think that I am naturally that way, because I do have I don't want to say snappy personality, but I don't really take shit in my personal life. But I am patient and I am able to kind of like put myself in somebody else's shoes. So as I've gotten older, that is a skill I've developed. But I do see, again, just right now where I'm at in my life, I do see where, okay, you know what, I'm going to probably be better able to use my skills and be more helpful in another department where I'm not as customer facing, because I do get overwhelmed sometimes. I'm able to control it, but I'm tired of that, So, anywho, if this video helped you and if you kind of learned a little bit more about what it takes to be in the insurance industry and to be successful and to make this a career, definitely go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have any other videos that you want to see, anything specific in the insurance industry, again, my expertise is homeowners and auto insurance. Definitely go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know. If you made it this far and you have not already subscribed, please go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.
You mad, they don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your back, it's like I never knew you. Leader.